Welcome to the November edition of Community Connection. This month we heat things up with holiday cooking. Take a look at a new partnership between Fridley Police and Faith Communities, and celebrate Veterans Day at the Fridley Community Center. Thank you for joining us. I'm Raquel Strand and this is Community Connection. Fall brings colorful trees, pumpkin spice everything, and holiday meals. Thanksgiving is the leading day each year for home fires involving cooking equipment. Here's Fridley Fire Marshal Matt Field with some advice on avoiding cooking tragedy.
Hello everybody, my name is Matt Field. I'm the Fire Marshal for the City of Fridley. And did you know last year that the #1 cause of structure fires in Minnesota was cooking related fires? It caused an estimated of $6 million in damage to property. The best way to prevent a cooking fire in your home, and the two most common factors that contributed to cooking fires, were leaving the stove unattended, walking away from cooking something, or having something that's combustible within 3 feet of the stove. Having paper towels, oven mitts close to the stove or on the stove itself. If you would limit those two things, walking away from what you're cooking and leaving it unattended and not having combustibles close to the stove, you'll limit the chance of having a cooking fire. There are some things you can do to help you if you do have a fire in your home on the stove. One of the things is have a tight fit lid. So you want to have a lid that fits that pan, always available. So if you're not using the lid while you're cooking, have it on the countertop next to you so that you can slide it across if you get a fire. If the pan does catch on fire, you're going to want to shut the stove off, and then you're going to make sure that lid's over it. You don't want to remove the lid once the fire's out because it will auto-ignite again. So it would start on fire again. There are some things that you can do in your home to make your home safe in case you do have a kitchen fire. One of them is there's devices that you can hang underneath the vent. And this is a Fire Stop product, but they sell other products like this. At the bottom of this has a fuse on it, and when there's a fire on a pan on your stovetop, it ignites the fuse and sets off this device, and it's like having a mini fire extinguisher that's attached to your stovetop vent. The stovetop vent Fire Stop device, you'd need 2 of these. One of these will do 2 burners. So you'd have one here and you'd have one here. One thing else you could do is you could have a fire extinguisher in your home, and that fire extinguisher you'd want to have away from your stove and not have it right near your stove, because you'd want to be able to fight or flight. So you'd want to either be able to put out the fire or to walk away. Don't try to carry the pan over to the sink. Usually what that leads to is spilling whatever's on fire either on you or in the sink, and it splashes back. If it's oil related, you want to remember never to use water to put out a fire that's on the stove. If you would dump water on this, it usually will make the fire worse and it will splatter on you. Anytime you have a fire in your home, you want to call 911. Fridley Fire Department would come out to your home and we would make sure that the fire was extinguished. One of the things that we look for is to make sure that we don't have extension up into cabinets or up into the walls. So even if the fire looks like it's out, you want to call 911 so we can come and make sure that your home is safe. And another thing I would like to talk to you about, the holiday season is approaching, and a lot of times people use turkey fryers. A lot of the turkey fryers you can buy at the local businesses have a propane bottle that you can attach to a burner that would be able to heat up oil normally to about 325 degrees, and then people would put a whole turkey in it. One of the things I would caution you on is making sure that the liquid level of the oil is not too high. You can follow the directions, but normally they'll have you put water in it and test for the size of the turkey you're cooking so that when you put the turkey in, the oil doesn't spill out and catch fire on the burner. But you also want to be cautious as to what you're cooking. So you wouldn't want to put a frozen turkey into the heated oil. So we want to make sure the level of the oil is not too high so it runs over. We want to make sure that we're not trying to heat up something that's frozen. The number one thing is we want to make sure we're not using propane-fueled oil turkey cookers inside a structure. We want it to be at least 15 feet away from a garage or a home. And in the event that the oil itself auto ignites or heats up to ignition temperature, we want to make sure that you don't try to put water on that. Just like cooking in your kitchen, if you have an oil fire, we want you to slide the lid across the pan. If you have a lid for your turkey cooker, we want you to slide that lid off. We also want you to shut down the propane bottle or the gas that's going to the appliance. We don't want you to use water. We want you, if you are cooking, especially with propane or anytime you have live flame going, you should have a way to extinguish it. One of the best ways is to have a fire extinguisher present. An ABC fire extinguisher could be used with flammables, oils. You should be able to have that available to you within 10 feet of where you're cooking and be able to use that extinguisher in the event you have a fire.
For more holiday safety advice, visit us online at fridleymn.gov/fire safety. November also gives us a chance to pause and honor the sacrifice and valor of our veterans. Veterans Day is November 11th, and the Fridley Senior Program recognizes this special day for local vets.
Hi, I'm Connie Thompson, and I'm the program supervisor for the City of Fridley Senior Program. And I'm here today to talk about November as the month that we celebrate our veterans. And to help me with that, I've asked John Ritzer from the Disabled American Veterans to join us and talk a little bit about veterans and benefits and how to go about getting those benefits. So welcome, John.
Thank you for having me.
John, we realize that every veteran, as they come back from service, has an adjustment to make when they come back into their communities. And I also know that on a day-to-day basis, you're dealing with multiple generations of veterans, World War II, Korean, Vietnam, and our current veterans. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're seeing today in your work?
Currently at the Department of Veterans Affairs, what we see with the Disabled American Veterans and the other veteran service organizations at the federal building is that we have a lot of claims with regards to service connections that are dealing with injuries and illnesses that service members incurred while they were on active duty. We do deal with, as you said, World War II veterans all the way to the present. Currently, it's surprising that we are still engaged heavily in our generation of our Vietnam veterans, more particularly at this time. Our World War II veterans and our Korean veterans have been dealt with in a timely manner, and I would say that we have some that we are still dealing with that may have just found out, like through your program, through the senior program, and it's their first time being engaged in the veterans world. That is when we pick them up. But currently our biggest demographics, I would say, is our Vietnam veterans that we're dealing with some of their Agent Orange issues. But we are also obviously dealing with our Gulf War veterans to include our OEF, OIF vets.
And OEI, OEF, what are those?
Okay, that generation, or those acronyms, we speak a lot in acronyms with the Department of Veterans Affairs. It is our Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, with regards to our current veterans that are serving, or I should say, our current service members that are serving this country with regards to war on terrorism.
Okay, so tell me, is there anything that community members can do to help veterans settle back in?
Yes, there's a lot of things that the community can get involved in with bringing back our service members to make them feel welcome back into the community, to help them re-engage in the social aspects and even in the industrial employment areas. Things like the Fridley is doing, the programs that you guys are running for Veterans Day and honoring our Veterans Days are very, very important for the community to get involved in. Not only are you learning about the certain types of benefits, from VA benefits to medical care, things of that nature that service member may need, but it also extends to educating the veteran themselves that their family members may be entitled to certain benefits. Another thing that the community can help out with regards to our veteran community is legislation. To be able to be part of the legislation, the grassroots movements, with ensuring that our veterans from a county, state, and federal level are being given the appropriate attention that they need with regards to their health and other concerns that they may have due to their service.
Okay. Now, I know that there are a lot of benefits that I wasn't even aware were available to veterans. Are there any that you really want to highlight here and tell me how they go about accessing those?
Well, I would like to first address a question about how do they go about getting benefits and how can they do it and who do they go to? I think the greatest thing about Fridley I can point out is that Fridley is part of Anoka County. Anoka County and all the counties in Minnesota have county veteran service officers. That's the great thing to understand, is that there are so many people involved to help the benefits process or answering questions with regards to VA benefits or veterans issues. So I would start with the county veteran service officers. And being that I'm here in Anoka County has great county veteran service officers that can answer those questions and address them. However, the way it works is county veteran service officers are partnered up with a national accreditation with veteran service organizations like the Disabled American Veterans. At the federal building, we have 6 to 7 entities that are veteran service organizations that provide free service. And that's the most important thing to understand, is there are people out there willing and able to provide free qualified service to ensure that they address all issues of Department of Veterans Affairs benefits, questions, and concerns. Now, there are a lot of benefits, and we could go on for more than just this little clip that we're going to have here. And some of the benefits that a lot of people don't understand is your injuries and illnesses that are incurred due to service come in different forms. There's actually 7 methods of service connection, and a lot of people don't understand that it exists in that manner. They feel that there's only maybe 1 or 2 ways of getting service connected. And I think that's one of the biggest things to understand about that, is that ask those questions and we will be able to answer those for the veterans and their dependents to figure out which avenue approach that we take. One of the other benefits that we have for our veterans is that any veteran who served 90 days consecutive during a period of war and 1 day during a period of war, they can be entitled to pension. And a lot of our veterans may be in financial situations where they may be eligible for pension rather than service connection based on illnesses or injuries incurred in service. So there are different types of applications of benefits that are out there for veterans who sustain injuries and illnesses directly in service, or veterans who did not, and that they may have some financial needs. The other thing that the veteran community may want to better understand is VA benefits is not just limited to or extended only to the veterans. It can actually extend to their dependents. So some of the things that we are always concerned about is, obviously with our World War II and our Korean War veterans, is that we're dealing largely right now with a lot of death benefits issues. That may be extended to our loved ones that have provided support for that veteran in their time, and based on the veteran's service and what they may have incurred in service, the spouse or eligible children may be eligible for certain VA benefits. So that is something that a lot of times they are not familiar with, that type of benefit.
So it sounds like we could do a whole show on veterans benefits and the things that are available to our veterans, but we just don't have time to do it today. So I'll probably be calling you to come out and do another show with us. John made reference to a couple of events that we have going on at the Fridley Senior Program. In the month of November, we have our Veterans Celebration that is on November 11th. We do ask that you register for that because we have some space limitations. We can only take 175 people. But Marcus Kuboy is going to be our guest speaker, and it's going to be followed by a lovely luncheon put on by the American Legion Auxiliary. Then he also made reference to our Honor Our Vets program, which is a program that we do with John and Ron Woolley from the VA. We started it a few years ago. It specifically deals with veterans benefits, and we've set the date for that as April 20th. We can take about 100 people for that event, and we'll be getting information out on that right after the first of the year. So I want to thank John for being here with us today, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for kindly having me.
On behalf of the City of Fridley, we thank all those who served our country. Every spring, the senior program offers an in-depth resource fair and seminar on benefits and programs for veterans. Watch for details in the February City newsletter and online at fridleymn.gov. This fall, Fridley Police launched a new outreach program called Cops and Clergy, an effort to partner with local faith communities to share resources and ideas across cultures and beliefs. This program is just getting off the ground. Here's Police Captain Mike Monsrud to tell us more.
Hello everyone, I'm Captain Mike Monsrud with the Fridley Police Department, and I'm here today to talk about a program with the Police Department that we're just recently starting. We're very excited about it. It's called Cops and Clergy, and it's a continued effort on behalf of the Police Department to reach out and make connections with the community. This is building off some of the prior programs we have, such as Cops in the Cafe, where we reach some of the elementary school children, Coffee with a Cop, where we reach many of you, the citizens that we deal with every day. This is just another extension of that. We have a very large faith community here in city, made up of many different denominations and faiths, and we found a real need to bring all those people of all those different faith communities together and get everybody on the same page. And it benefits both the community, the police department, and the faith communities in various different ways. Many of our police officers go to calls and they see heartbreaking situations that they want to help with. And many times the only help available is through social service programs. And our officers were finding that many times these people that needed the help didn't qualify or didn't know how to jump through all the red tape to get access to the help they needed. So we thought about bringing the faith community in as members that can help us bridge that gap and help people in the community get what they need. An example of this would be an officer goes to a house and sees that the kids don't have any beds to sleep in. In the past, that was a very difficult effort to get someone to provide bed for these kids. But we're hoping through our faith community connections that we're making that one of the faith communities will be able to step up and provide beds or other needed resources for these families. One of the other things we're finding is many of these faith communities in our community are already doing a great deal of good work in the community that we as a police department were unaware of. So what this program has done has allowed us to tap into some of those resources and refer people to programs that already exist within the faith community, and also for our police officers to get involved in those activities. You know, it's very positive for the police to go and help pass out food at a local food shelf or deliver a meal to someone at the Bridgeview Drop-In Center, or many other activities that the faith community is already involved in here in our community. So it's a great opportunity for us as police officers to become more involved in the community. And on the plus side of that for the officers is they're forming relationships with the faith leaders of the community. We've got police officers in our department that cross many different religious lines, and it's good for them to make connections with the faith community leaders of their religion in the city. So if there is an incident or a situation where they need some spiritual support or guidance, they have someone right here in their own community they can turn to help them get through that problem that they're dealing with. An example would be deaths of infants or children are very traumatic when officers go on those scenes, especially if those officers have children themselves, or especially if they have children about the same age of someone they're dealing with. And that happens more frequently than people think of. And we're going to use this as a resource to connect those officers with local members of the faith community and help them provide spiritual support and emotional help to the officers to get through those trying situations. So this is just another way that we as the police department are trying to connect with the community and getting the faith group involved and doing good things in the community for everybody.
Now let's take a look at what the Fridley City Council is working on. Here's City Manager Wally Weisopel with the October Council update.
Hi, I'm Wally Weisopel, City Manager, and here's the Council update for October. The City Council met on the 10th and 24th of the month, and as always, they have a conference meeting before the regular scheduled council meeting, and at that meeting they discussed a couple of items of which they take no action on, but get a little bit more education and ask questions of staff and the public. The first item was the special assessment policy. In discussion with this regard is regard to the assessments that the city would charge to non-property tax paying entities such as school districts. The City Council wanted to sort that policy out as next year we have a scheduled street reconstruction project adjacent to one of our public schools. The next item that they talked about on the 24th had to deal with solid waste management and a proposal into the future to amend our current policy. And solid waste management includes your garbage, recycling, yard waste, and a new one, organics collection. The organics collection is a new program that's been started throughout the metro area, and the City Council got educated on the idea, and we'll be looking at amending our current ordinance to make that allowable in the City of Fridley and issuing licenses. We also had discussion about yard waste and how that is continue to be collected in the same manner, but licenses would be issued as well to those garbage haulers. For the regular meetings, the City Council spent a lot of time talking about assessments and approving assessments. Assessments are where the city charges the property owner for certain services that go above and beyond the regular services that the city provides. In this case, lateral repairs. A lateral repair is a sewer and water line that serves from the main to the home. And in some cases, people's water lines or sewer mains break and they can't afford to get them fixed. And for public health purposes, the city arranges for that work to get done, and then we charge the property owner on their taxes. So we assess that property for those services. Another one would be delinquent utilities. Oftentimes, when a property owner doesn't pay their utility bill, water and sewer, after a certain amount of time, we're allowed to charge that property on their taxes to collect those fees. And then the third one was our street projects. This is a normal way that we fund our street reconstruction programs for two projects, one that took place in 2015 and another one in this year. And those property owners pay for a portion of those street improvements. And then finally, any nuisance abatements. Now this is oftentimes associated with vacant homes, but sometimes also includes people who just can't get the work done on their homes, mowing lawns, that kind of thing. And then the city goes and gets that done for them, and then we charge the taxes as well. So we took care of all those things. We also approved a contract, or approved the budget rather, for the Twin Cities Gateway. The Twin Cities Gateway is a tourism bureau that serves many cities in the northern suburbs. They collect their fees from a tax on hotel rooms and then return a portion of those monies to cities and then also sponsor tourism in the area. So the city of Fridley is a participant in that, and then we get a portion of that budget back to us that we can use for promoting things like 49er Days, Pumpkin Night in the Park, that kind of thing. We also had bids approved for the Phase 2 of the Springbrook project. This is going to be for the outdoor amphitheater and such. And then we approved a grant with the Department of Health for water testing. This is a typical thing that we do with them. And then we closed out a program with the Metropolitan Council, a grant that we received for infiltration testing so that we can improve our sanitary sewers. So that was the council meetings for October. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in November.
Winter parking is now in effect. Between November 1st and April 1st, there's no parking on city streets between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. or any time snow removal is in progress. Details can be found on the city website at fridleymn.gov/snow removal. Also, city offices will be closed on Friday, November 11th in honor of Veterans Day, and on November 24th and 25th for Thanksgiving. We hope you all have a chance to honor the vets in your life and to spend some quality time with friends and family. That's all for this edition of Fridley Community Connection. Be sure to follow the City of Fridley on Facebook and Twitter for quick announcements and updates. We leave you now with a look back on some of Fridley's October fun. I'm Raquel Strand. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of Fridley Municipal Television, Channel 17. Thanks for watching.